Could the Saints potentially explore a blockbuster trade? There's also some chatter about New Orleans being linked to a quarterback. So in today's video, we're going to break that down in great detail. But before we dive into the latest around the black and gold, I need to encourage you to subscribe here to Saints Now by Chat Sports. Even in the dog days of the offseason, we're still giving you content. We're on the road to 50K. Today's goal, just 50 subscribers. So I need 50 crazy Saints fans to hit the sub button for 100% free videos almost every single day. Welcome into Saints Now by Chat Sports. As always, I'm your host, Trizzy Trace Girouard. The main focus of today's video is going to be TJ Watt. And then, of course, we're going to dive into some quarterback trade rumors. But let's dive into the possibility of a blockbuster trade because reports out there suggest that multiple teams have been in discussion with the star pass rusher, TJ Watt. Adam Schefter adding context that multiple teams have been in discussion with TJ Watt. He skipped the team's most recent minicamp. Pittsburgh hasn't shown any willingness to deal Watt so far, but he's unhappy with his contractual situation, and sources believe outside team interest is likely to increase given today's trade. And, depending on when you're watching this video, in case you guys missed it, the Steelers and the Dolphins recently made two separate trades, and this is the full haul of everything that was swapped. The Steelers get veteran cornerback Jalen Ramsey, tight end Jonnu Smith, so he reunites with Arthur Smith up in Pittsburgh. And then they also receive a 2027 7th-round pick, whereas the Dolphins receive very nice defensive back Minkah Fitzpatrick and a 2027 5th-round pick. We broke down this trade in great detail and how it impacts the New Orleans Saints, so I encourage you to check that out. It was recently published here on the channel. But here's the thing around TJ Watt, just so you guys can know, I would definitely kick the tires on a potential trade for TJ Watt. I'm not saying that I would give up every single piece of draft capital and I'd give up some massive haul. That is not at all what I am saying. But what I am saying is I would definitely pick up the phone, make a call, and explore to see what it would potentially cost to get this move done. I mean, it's no question about it. TJ Watt is one of the best pass rushers in the National Football League, especially when he's healthy. Last year, 11.5 sacks. In 2023, he logged 19. And for a New Orleans Saints defense that's looking at a massive revamp with Brandon Staley at the defensive coordinator position, Bo Davis being the defensive line coach, I firmly do believe the Saints should be looking to improve their pass rush. Last year, they were in the bottom half of the league. They were not very productive in terms of actually getting to the quarterback. They got a lot of pressures, but I'm tired of pressure. I want production, and TJ Watt is a production machine. It would be very expensive to get rid of TJ Watt because the Steelers have been adamant on wanting to keep TJ Watt in the black and yellow. I will never call it the black and gold, but they want to keep them in the black and yellow through the duration of his career, and I can understand why. He's a damn good football player, and he's extremely impactful and extremely effective when he's available. And again, I think that the Saints should just make a call, see what it costs, because in my personal opinion, you should always be looking to improve your roster. You should always take into consideration moves that might help you out, whether it's short-term or long-term. And the Saints right now should be exploring more long-term options. TJ Watt, he still has a lot of gas in the tank. Again, I'm not saying to go and trade away everything. I'm not saying this is the end-all, be-all, and I need TJ Watt. That could not be further from the truth. I like what the New Orleans Saints have started to build in terms of their defensive line. I very much so believe that this is going to be a very different defensive line in the next couple of years. And maybe, just maybe, TJ Watt is a player that's worth investing in because you know he's proven, you know he can get it done at a high level, and you know for a fact that you can plug him in right now and he will give you extremely good football right away. I mean, could you imagine having TJ Watt and Chase Young being the two guys on the edge rushing the passer? I mean, that is horrifying as an offensive coordinator to try to scheme up and plan against. Now, I want to hear from you, Saints fans. Name a player that you want the Saints to trade for. I don't believe TJ Watt will end up getting traded, and honestly, I don't think the Saints will make this move. I don't think that they will trade for a defensive lineman, but if they were to go and trade for a player, whether it's defense, whether it's offense, trenches, skill position, quarterback, I don't really care. I want to hear from you. Name a player you want the New Orleans Saints to trade for. Now, coming up next, we're going to be discussing a quarterback linked to the New Orleans Saints, and that is none other than first-round pick Kenny Pickett. Kenny Two Gloves. We're going to talk about the guy with the baby hands potentially being the passer for the New Orleans Saints. But really quickly, 4th of July, it will be here before you know it. Saints fans, this hat, I don't care if you're just repping it for the 4th of July. I don't care if you're wearing it all year round. It is absolutely fresh. There is no bad time of the year to rock the red, white, and blue. I mean, this hat looks so clean. And I got mine, chatsports.com/Saints4th. Link is in the comments and description of this video. But you don't just have to get this hat. You can get a lot of other really cool t-shirts, sweaters, hoodies, jackets. They have all of the salute to service gear. They have all sorts of awesome stuff all on sale. chatsports.com/Saints4th. Like I mentioned, the link is made clickable in the comments and description of this video, so go get yourself some new gear today. Okay, I really thought about not talking about this. It took a lot in me to muster up the strength and the courage to have this conversation, and I want to make it explicitly clear before I dive into this. I think trading for Kenny Pickett would be a terrible decision for the New Orleans Saints, but Nathan Zegura, a Browns radio analyst out in Cleveland, he thinks that Kenny Pickett to New Orleans does make some sense, so I'm going to give him the opportunity to defend himself. I still don't think it makes any sense, but here, if you think a quarterback is needed in New Orleans, here's what Nathan had to say. He's a former first-round pick. He is young and went 15-10 as a starter. It would be interesting, for example, if down in New Orleans, Kellen Moore was just with him in Philly. He said that it's not working out with Tyler Shuck. Maybe we need to bring him down here as the starter and see what he has. And, that's just kind of a hypothetical right there. And I'm just going to say this. I wouldn't buy much stock into a hypothetical idea from a Browns radio host. For what it's worth, most of the reports I've seen around Tyler Shuck and most of the things I've heard about the quarterback battle in New Orleans has been very positive. Although it's not the most illustrious names, it's not going to be a Josh Allen, you're not going to have a Lamar Jackson, you're not going to have some crazy name in year one. He was going to have some ridiculous season, but from what I've heard and what I understand, everything is moving in the right direction and everything is kind of progressing the way Kellen Moore is wanting and hoping that it would. And so for me personally, I've seen a lot of stuff that's been good around Tyler Shuck, but also Spencer Rattler for that matter. And I just think that trading for Kenny Pickett would be dumb. I don't want to do this. I don't want to give up draft capital for a player who has never really been that great. I understand that he didn't have a great set of cards in Pittsburgh. Last year, he played snaps in an NFC Championship and in a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles, so there is the familiarity with Kellen Moore. So in terms of who do you want to be the backup, maybe Kellen Moore was really enthralled by Kenny Pickett, but for me, I just don't think it makes any sense to do it. I personally think that Tanner McKee would actually be a name to keep an eye on. If you were to make a trade for a quarterback, and especially if it's a player that formerly played with Kellen Moore, try to say that 10 times fast. If it's a player that has experience with Kellen Moore, I think Tanner McKee is actually the name to keep an eye out on. He's only 25 years old. He has decent size. Not a ton of run with the Philadelphia Eagles, but 323 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a passer rating of 117.2. So for Tanner McKee, I don't think that it would be the worst decision in the whole wide world. The Eagles did draft Kyle McCord out of Syracuse, so maybe there is a market to try to get rid of Tanner McKee. Again, it's hypothetical. I'm not totally sure about that, but I just think if you were to go and trade for a quarterback, it would be more likely this guy over Kenny Pickett. I think it would be a bad idea. I don't want to explore that option. And to be totally honest, I think you should stay as far away from trading for Kenny Pickett. And to be totally honest, I don't expect another quarterback to be brought in whatsoever. Maybe if a guy gets cut, whenever it gets closer to roster cut down day, maybe if there's like an intriguing name out there, sure, that could be an option. But I just don't expect anybody or any moves around the quarterback position right now, because if the Saints felt like they needed a quarterback, they would have, in my opinion, probably already started doing some research around there. You probably would have heard about some visits. You probably would have seen some things. So between Hunter Deckers, Jake Haener, Spencer Rattler, and Tyler Shuck, in my opinion, it feels as if the New Orleans Saints are comfortable with running with that group. They feel as if they have a starter and a backup in that role, and they also have faith in the young coaching staff between Kellen Moore, Doug Nussmeier, and Scott Tolzien, especially when it comes to developing the passer and developing that side of the football on the offense, which quite frankly needs a massive facelift and needs all the help they can get. I don't think a move will happen, but hey, maybe it does. So how confident are you in the quarterback room in New Orleans? Scale it for me, 1 to 100. 1 meaning these guys might throw for 100 yards total. 100 meaning you think that one of those guys could potentially win the MVP. I want to hear from you in the comment section. I'm going to say it's kind of hard, Lopez, to go above anything like a 75 or 78. Spencer Rattler doesn't have a win. He's had some good moments, but nothing like you can really buy stock into. Tyler Shuck, it's a rookie. Can't really buy stock into that. I'm going to say 75. Feels like a cop-out. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Who knows? But I want to hear from you. I'm going 75. Where are you at? Who Dat Nation, I really appreciate y'all for tuning in to today's video. Be sure to subscribe for more content around the black and gold. We are on the road to 50,000 subscribers, so if you made it to the end of this video, that means we're doing something right. So hit the red sub button for free Saints videos by Saints fans, for Saints fans, and y'all stay golden. We'll see you next time.